now invite Professor Sandhiya Selvarajan, Madam. So I hope Madam is there, and may I request the team Clanet to please share her slides. Can you hear us, Clanet team?
Yes, sir. It's already shared. Is it visible?
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, thank
Okay.
you. So Professor Sandhiya Selvarajan, Madam, currently head at the Department of Clinical Pharmacology at Chipmar, Pondicherry. Madam will tell us about data integrity, the importance of monitoring in clinical trials. So over to Madam. Madam, this stage is yours.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr.
Please.
Sambo. Can I project the slide from my side so that it will be easy for me to?
No, ma'am, as it is sharing
Okay.
shared by me. So kindly tell me next when I have to change the
fine.
slides.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah.
And also at the same time, I request all the other who are present, please mute yourself. Apart from our respected speaker, I am requesting all to please mute yourself. And also Team Clarnet, can you please do the justice? Apart from the faculty
Yes,
who is
sure.
speaking, mute others.
Yeah. So first of all, a very good evening to everyone, the organizers, Nandini Kumar Madam there, all the participants, Dr. Shambho. Thank the Physician Research Foundation and the API West Bengal branch for giving me this opportunity. So for the next 30 minutes, I'll be discussing on data integrity and monitoring and clinical trials. So just for the better connectivity, I will just switch off my video as I present, and again I will switch on my video once my topic is over. So coming to the overview of my topic, on data integrity, monitoring, audit, quality assurance, and giving a summary of all these things. So moving on to the introduction, if you look at the definition of data, so what is data as per the dictionary definition? Can you just go to the next slide? So data is nothing but a collection of information in the form of facts or numbers which are used for making decision. So this is the definition of data as per the dictionary. So what is a clinical trial data? If you move to the next slide. So clinical trial data is nothing but the information gathered during clinical trial. When we do a study to assess the safety and efficacy of intervention, so many data are collected, ranging from demographic details, medical history, family history, treatment outcomes, other relevant details of the patient. So there is a huge amount of data which is collected in the clinical trial. Can you move to the next slide, please? So what do we do with this data? How do we ensure this data is correct? What should be assessed from it? And how to rely upon the results of this data? So there comes data integrity. So according to ICH E6R3 definition, so data integrity is nothing but it is a tool to find out whether the data which is collected from the clinical trial fulfills the key criteria of ALCOVA, which was discussed previously by Dr. Sucheta. That is, whether the data collected is attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate, complete, secure, and reliable. So I will discuss more about this ALCOVA in the coming slides. Next, please. So why we need this data integrity? Because this data integrity ensures that the data collected in the clinical trial is appropriate. So the amount of error done is less while collecting the data, and that it provides more credibility for the results of the study. Next slide, please. So let us look at these various steps in data integrity. So data integrity is nothing but taking apt measures for collecting, storing, handling, and analyzing the data, and not only the process of collecting and handling the data, the overall process of supervising whether the data is handled in a proper way is part and parcel of data integrity. So why should we have data integrity? Because data integrity ensures that the data collected is accurate, consistent, and reliable. Next slide, please. Okay, so one of the major principles of data collection is collecting data in the Alcoa format so that the data collected is reliable. So what is this Alcoa? It is attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, accurate. So let us look at this one by one. So coming to attributable, these things were already explained by Dr. Sucheta, so I'll just move fastly. So what is attributable? Next slide, please. Attributable is attributing to the person who has done that data entry or who has entered the data. For example, in a clinical case record form, in a clinical trial case record form, who has entered the CRF? Is it the PI or the co-investigator or the clinical trial coordinator? So we should know who has entered this data. Similarly, in the consent document, who has signed the consent document? Is it the PI or the co-investigator? Next slide, please. So attributable refers to the person who has entered the data. Similarly, who has verified and corrected the data if there is any correction. So that is attributable. Next one is legible. So legible, whatever data entered, is it legible? That is whether it is readable and understandable. So having a printed format or a electronic data capture system makes things easy and makes things more legible when you capture the data, making it more readable and understandable. Next one, Alcoa C, that is contemporaneous, which means whether the data is entered in real time. That is, in the informed consent document, the patient and the PI should have signed on the same day when consent was taken. So the date entered should be same. Similarly, when the CRF is entered, when for a particular follow-up visit, when that follow-up was done, entered. So this captures the data in real time. It will be useful in future to verify whether the data was collected on the same day when the particular follow-up visit was supposed to be done. So collecting the data on real time is very essential. Then comes, can you please move on to the, yeah, Alcoa. So original. Again, whether the information given in the CRF is similar to the source document. For example, the inclusion criteria says age is from 18 to 60 years. So how do we know the correct age person is included in the study? So how do we verify the age? So for that, the age will be verified with the Aadhaar, which will be the original document, to cross-verify whether the date of birth and the age of the patient matches. So this is one way of verifying with the original document, the source document, which could be a laboratory report or a ECG. Whatever data entered in the CRF has to match with the source document. So the data entered should be original. Next one, please. And the data entered has to be accurate. For example, the age, again here the age to be given in years, months and days. And the age is entered as 17 years, 11 months, 31 days. How is it important? So this person has come now 18 years. So he or she is an adult. So should we get consent or assent? So that plays a major role. Similarly, if the patient, if this person is 18 years and above will be included in the study, and below 18 years they will not be included in the study. If the inclusion criteria is according to the age, then this person can be either included or excluded according to the inclusion criteria which is stated in the protocol. Similarly, blood pressure. Why this 139, 78 to be important? Can we round up if the BP is systolic blood pressure is 139? Can we round up and write 140? No, because here the blood pressure is 139, and if the inclusion criteria says patients more than 140 systolic blood pressure will be included, then again this person cannot be included. Again, HbA1c 9.1 is the inclusion criteria states diabetic patients between HbA1c 7 to 9 will be included. Again, here it is 9.1, we cannot include. So all the data entered in the case record form should be accurate and it should be similar to that given in the original document. So this is Alcoa. Can we move on to the next one, please? In addition to Alcoa, all the data entered, in case if we have done some mistakes. It's okay. It is human to make mistakes, but then we should not hide it. We have to correct it, leaving a audit trail, leaving scope for audit trail. So two types of corrections are done in this. The first one where the person has hidden what was written for age and has written 66. In the second one, again the person has written wrongly as 64. It has been corrected with a single stripe and written. And after making the correction, the person has signed and dated it. So any correction has to be made like the second correction and not like the first correction, where we don't know, where we don't have any clue like what was written in the first place. So the corrections done should be again visible and legible. With in case if there is a reason for that, the reason also can be written. Okay, can we move on to the next slide, please? So this helps us to have an audit trail. In addition to ALCOA principle, of late there is one ALCOA plus principle. That is, apart from ALCOA, the data also should be complete, consistent, enduring, and available. So what is this complete? So data has to be complete in case if there is a retest or reanalysis done for a particular patient, that data has to be given. Consistent. It should be consistent with respect to all the records, with respect to the date and time when it was entered, and the data entered in the CRF has to be there. Like there should be a permanent source document for it, or if there is a maintenance of laboratory record or a validated electronic systems, so the data has to be there, so that when someone comes for monitoring or auditing, the data has to be there forever, as long as the study is there or as long as the regulatory requirement. So in addition to ALCOA, now recently the ALCOA plus principle also needs to be followed for maintaining data integrity. Next slide, please. Next one. Okay, so moving on to storage. After data collection, the data has to be stored and handled. Now, where it should be stored? It has to be stored in a secure, confidential, and safe environment with restricted access to the PI and the persons delegated by PI, so that the data not misused, data is not corrupted, or it is changed. Also, it is a good clinical practice to keep each study related files in separate places instead of mixing the study files. Also, delayed documentation has to be avoided. As I already said, in ALCOA, it has to be contemporaneous. All the data entry should be on time. Delaying will, by delaying, the person may forget to enter certain things, resulting mistakes. And there should be always a backup plan, whether the data is stored in as a soft copy or hard copy. For each, there should be appropriate backup plan so as to retain the data for the required time period. And these data has to be archived for as much time as required as per the regulatory requirement. As per Indian regulatory requirement for Indian trials, it is 5 years, or based on other countries for which this trial is being done, according to their country's requirement, this data has to be archived. Next one. Okay. One more important thing in data integrity is, apart from data collection and storage, the PI has to supervise whether everything is done properly. So how this can be possible? How to ensure that the data is collected properly, entered properly, stored and handled properly? For that, we need to have SOPs. Proper SOPs should be in place for each and every activity of data integrity. That is, from data collection to data entry, data storage, data handling, analysis, reporting. For each and everything, there should be appropriate SOPs, and all the trial staff should be trained with these SOPs. And as much as possible, using a validated electronic data capture systems will help us to reduce the errors in capturing data. And at regular intervals, source data needs to be verified to check whether all the information is entered properly, and maintaining audit trails. So what is this audit trail? Previously also I said audit trail. Next slide, please. So audit trail is nothing but whatever correction or whatever changes are made is traceable. So when we enter a data, if we have entered the data wrongly, if you want to correct it, it can be corrected. But however, the correction should be known. And what was the reason for this correction? Who made this correction? When it was made? Everything should be there in the corrected page along with signature. Who has done this correction and whether it was verified by the investigator. So all this information should be there for the future people who come for checking these data. So that is called audit trail. Next slide, please. So I think I have already covered audit trail. So we can go to the next one. I have covered this. Can you move to the next slide, please? Okay. So I think there's a lag time from the movement of slide and what I speak. So after the audit trail, how to ensure that all data integrity is done properly, data collection and storage is done properly. Even if the PI supervisors, there should be a mechanism to check whether everything is done properly. So there comes the responsibility of sponsor, which was already covered by one of the speakers who spoke about sponsor responsibility, that is monitoring. So data integrity can be checked by monitoring the trial at regular intervals, and this monitoring is usually done by the sponsor, by the either sponsor representative or the sponsor arranges some of the CROs through whom a monitor can be arranged to monitor the clinical trial. Now again, there will be some repeatability because most of the things were covered during the sponsor responsibility topic. So what does this monitor do? Can you move to the next slide, please? Next one. Next one. Okay. So the consequences of poor data integrity is like the right safety and well-being of the patients are affected. There is no credibility of the results generated, and hence there is a financial loss to the sponsor or the investigator. So this can be avoided by monitoring. Can we move on to the next slide? Again, this was covered. Can you move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. So the objectives of monitoring is to ensure the trial is done as per the protocol, following the GCP guidelines, SOP as per the IEC approved protocol, and in liaison with the regulatory requirement of the country. So moving to the next slide. As I already said, the clinical trial monitor who monitors the trial is appointed by the sponsor or through CRO. And this monitor is part and parcel of the clinical trial team who knows about the clinical trial protocol, the ICD, SOPs, GCP, and applicable regulations. So whenever such monitors come to the site, they should be given access at the facility to view the documents and monitor the documents. Can you move on to the next slide, please? Yeah. So that the monitoring could be either site specific or it could be centralized, and even site specific could be either happening on the site or it could be from remote. So, but having the on-site monitoring will be useful for the to know how the study is done, how the study staff are maintaining GCP compliance, as well as the study trial staff also can learn from the monitor. So usually the sponsor appoints a monitor, discusses with investigator and appoints a date for monitoring. Can you please go on to the next slide? Okay. So these are the various elements of monitoring which the monitor will be reviewing. I will be explaining in the next slides one by one. Can you please go to the next slide, please? So first one is to review the facilities, whether the investigator is qualified enough to conduct the trial, whether the site is having all the facilities and resources to conduct the trial, and whether they can withstand these resources till the whole trial period. So these things will be monitored before starting the trial by the monitor. Next one. Then once the study is started, the monitor will check whether the site is following the protocol, whether they are corresponding with the IEC for each and every amendments or protocol deviations, protocol violations happening, whether they are reporting SAEs on time. Just before me, the speaker said that various time frame for reporting SAEs, whether the time frame is being followed, and whether the site is maintaining delegation responsibility, and whether everything is maintained properly. Next one. In addition to protocol complaints, the source data verification will be done, whether the data entered in the CRO is similar to the source from which it is taken, whether Alcoa format is followed, and whether the corrections made are dated and initialed by the trial team wherever the corrections are made. Again, the source data verification was taken previously, so I will move on to the next slide. Next one, please. And the monitor also will look into the investigational product accountability, whether the drug was kept in the storage conditions which was mentioned in the protocol, and whether it was dispensed as per the protocol, and after the study is over, how the drugs are disposed. So all this information will be taken by the monitor. Next one. And one of the important things which the monitor will go through is the informed consent document, whether the correct version of the ICD was used, whether from the particular patient, from which language they have taken consent, whether all the pages of the informed consent document are in the same language, and the signature, whether it is signed by a patient and investigator, whether it is dated. So these will be monitored. Next one, please. And also the ICD process, how long informed consent was taken, how much time was given to the participant, whether it was a voluntary participation, whether all the queries raised by the participant was answered, if it is done in vulnerable population, if AV recording is done, whether it has followed all the procedures, everything will be monitored. Next one, please. Okay, so once the monitoring is over, the monitor will jot down all the points, and he will share the findings with the investigator and the study team. And wherever corrections have to be done or any training needs to be given to the site, that will be given to them. And he will also plan for the next visit when to come for the monitoring. And after going, the monitor will send a monitoring visit report. If there are some queries for the study team, the queries needs to be answered by the study team. And again, they will fix a monitoring visit and again come and do the same procedure. So during this process, the monitor also learns about the site, and the site also learns many things, how to correct their mistakes, how to maintain certain things, how to take consent, how to fill the CRF, everything will be learned. Next one, please. So this is the monitoring process flow. So there will be a pre-monitoring visit to see whether the site and the PA are eligible to do the study. Then during the monitoring visits, whatever mistakes are picked up will be explained to the site team, and then follow-up actions will be suggested to the team. Next one, please. Okay, so there are various tools for monitoring the clinical trial sites and also for documentation like CTMS, electronic data capture system, electronic trial master file, risk-based monitoring tools, audit management software. So these are all used for making the monitors and auditors work easy. So like for example, in electronic data capture system, once the data is entered, it is not possible for the person to alter it. And even if they alter, there is going to be audit trail. What is the reason for that alteration? Everything will be there. So next one, please. So these tools helps us to monitor, audit things in a simple manner. And just because monitoring, for completion's sake, I will also try to tell about data safety monitoring board, which was again covered previously. So a DSMB is nothing but an independent board constituted by the sponsor to see whether the trial conducted is safe, or to find out whether it is having it is meeting efficacy endpoints, and they will be assessing safety and efficacy at pre-planned intervals, which was decided before the trial itself. Next one, and when we say monitoring, one more monitor is there in clinical trial, that is a medical monitor, who is again appointed by the sponsor, a medical person, and the medical monitor always gives suggestions to the PI, and that person will be clarifying all the medical related doubts in the clinical trial. Next one, please. So, from monitoring, moving on to audit. So, what is the difference between monitoring and audit? So, again, audit is also done to find out whether the trial related activities are recorded, analyzed, and reported as per the protocol, SOPs, GCP, and applicable regulatory requirements. So, what is the difference between this audit and monitoring? Can you move on to the next one? So, audit is done for like quality assurance. Next one, please. For quality assurance and also for taking corrective and preventive actions. It is again, it can be done by the sponsor to make the site face audit from regulatory agencies in future, or it will be done by regulatory agencies.
Hello, ma'am, you are not audible.
Okay. Sorry, I think my net connectivity is lost for a while. Okay, so what are the objectives of audit? It is mainly done to have quality control as well as in identifying the corrective problem areas and improve the quality of the study. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So as I already mentioned, there are two types of audit, routine and forecast. Next one, please. And this audit is again done by auditors. The auditors are qualified in training and experience. Dr. Sujeta was telling she's one of the auditors. So auditors are qualified people, and they're very good in picking up the errors done as well as good in advising corrective measures. So any investigator or institution should permit these auditors when they go for auditing the study. Next one, please. So the types of audit includes auditing documents, system, process, vendor, etc. Even the systems, for example, how a particular system, data management system is functioning, how a particular process is functioning, or vendor. For example, if for a clinical trial, or if you are getting some supply from outside vendors, how things are procured from them. So audit could be with respect to any of these things. Next one, please. So again, whatever I said in monitoring, audit also will look into the same thing, whether all the documents are what used for study purpose is as per the latest version, whether the ethics committee which has given approval is registered with the regulatory authority, whether the renewal is on par with time, and whether the IEC members are trained in GCP. Next one, please. Similarly, the consent document, whether the proper version of consent document was used, whether the patients were given enough time to take a decision, and the consent document, whether it is signed or not by both investigators and the patient or LRA, whether it is dated on the same date. So all these things will be checked in audit also. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So again, audit, they will look into the documents, CRF, ethics related documents, other source documents. Next one, please. And the data storage, drug inventory records, delegation records, the investigational product expiry dates, how it was stored in the pharmacy, in which place. So everything will be audited. Next one, please. Next one. Okay. So in addition to reviewing the records during the audit procedure, they can also interview the staff, clinical trial staff, as well as they can visit the facility to see whether the study is done as per the procedure, whether all the facilities are record are there, whether they are doing the facility as per the methodology given in the protocol. And next one, please. In response to the audit, the corrective and preventive actions need to be taken. Corrective actions are taken to rectify the problem committed already, and preventive actions are suggested to prevent such potential problem occurring in future. Next one, please. So this type of auditing helps us to assure quality of the study. So we monitor a study, find out the process, if there are any mistakes, identify it, suggest corrective actions, and again do the corrective actions and check whether the study is going as per the protocol and guidelines. The next one, please. So to summarize, data integrity is essential for ensuring the right safety and well-being of the participants, and also to ensure the data collected in the study is credible. So monitoring, auditing, and quality assurance helps us to ensure the data is collected in an appropriate manner. And of late, there are effective tools to help us to capture data and manage data integrity. Next one, please. So while monitoring is done regularly to detect and resolve the issues, auditing is done in a systematic manner, and it could be either by sponsor or from the regulatory authority. And this is it identifies process improvements and helps us to take corrective and preventive actions. So it's always good for a investigator to be always monitoring and audit ready. For that, we need to follow GCP, SOPs, and do the study as per the protocol. So with this, I would like to stop and thank the audience for patient listening. And if possible, I can take question, or else I can take it later. In the interest of time, maybe I can take questions later. Or the questions can be put in the chat box, I can answer.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. And I think I was preparing one question for you, but your last slide had summarized that. And thanks again, because while during the presentation time, maybe due to some technical glitch, that part, the difference between auditor and monitor, that was a little bit missing. We missed that, but wonderfully you had explained. And I think this is one of the very important concepts which we lack. And I think you had done a great job, madam. Thank you once again. I'm requesting you to stay with us during the panel discussion if possible. We'll have more questions. And I think already moderator Professor Nandini Chatterjee madam had joined. But before that, we have a very important session now. And for that, we have Professor Shantanu Kumar Tripathi sir. So just I had missed to introduce Professor Sandhiya Selvarajan in one part, because currently madam is also the honorary treasurer of our national treasurer of ACP, Association of Clinical Pharmacologists. So thank you once again, madam, for giving your valuable insights. And